We do end up having the white pieces against the 1969. So we're gonna be going second move bishop to f4, knight f6, and I'm gonna be playing e3, knight f3, and after knight c6, knight b to d2 is the really important move that you need to know by heart. Don't play c3, as I always say, because queen b6 is good for black. Now I'm gonna be going c3 against bishop to g4. Idea to play queen b3 next, and we do get into some kind of Caro positions. If he takes on d4, he does not, and he goes for queen b6. And I've actually looked this up. Like, we can take on b6, go bishop b5 with like slightly better endgames, but I think it's actually better to start with like knight e5 in this position, and does play bishop f5. But I think now we just get a much better version after taking, and then we go bishop b5 because we just want a tempo. And I'm trying to remember how the line goes. I think it goes like this: go bishop to b5, and I think this is actually going to be really instructive because he's going to be unable to defend the pawn. Now idea is to just play this move next, and he goes rook a8, falling for it. But the problem is if he goes like rook d8, I think we'd go bishop to c7 in that position, and we just collect his queenside. So it's pretty funny. And at this point, he's just losing. But it's like really important in this position to play knight e5, because in like I've also seen in like London books, everyone just kind of goes for the lazy approach, recommending queen b6, bishop b5 as being slightly better with knight e5, and this is like very typical for the London. But I think it's like really important. Go knight e5 first. I've noticed Nihal Sarin playing this way, so he's definitely one of the biggest London experts, and this is exactly why, because you get stuff like this into the game. We just tap a free pawn, knight d7. What is like the smoothest way to convert? I could go bishop b8. Is it necessary? He plays rook a6. Could play bishop b7 in that line, but then he takes my bishop on b8, so it doesn't make sense. Could go bishop b5. He goes back. I'm trying to see whether we can grab more material, but I think we can actually do so. We'll play this move first. He goes there, and then I think I'm going bishop c7. We had to go bishop b5 and then take the pawn on b6. So let's see. Let's go rook a5. Gonna be playing bishop c7 now. This is a big threat. Man, his queenside is just literally collapsing. Like, this is not even funny. Gonna go bishop b5. Hitting this guy, and I could take and take, but he might be getting rook b5 ideas at the end. So I'm gonna be playing a4 first. And yeah, now I'm definitely simply threatening to take that. Or actually he'll be taking that on b5. Still might be winning for me, but why would you allow that? So the idea is that, well, we could also start with like knight b3 on the next move, and other than that we can take on d7 and then on b6 and then on c5, and I'll actually be up a lot of pawns. I even lost the count. Yeah, just gonna be doing that, taking on b6, taking on c5. I've got so many pawns. I'm gonna take with a pawn though, because the bishop is like really supporting this guys, and he gives up the bishop. We just take. He was expecting me to take with a bishop, I'm guessing. Still tries to fight on. Oh boy, these people just don't know to accept that they lost, man. Just give up, bro. I mean, there's a new game. You can just press create new game and you're in a new game. Just give up. Okay, I'm just gonna play like rook b1, try to like defend, or king c2. I think this is like a very instructive game though. I'm actually very happy that we managed to get in that position, because we haven't really got into the bishop g4 lines so far into this series. So I think it's actually one of the really important lines that you need to know how to handle in order to be playing the London system successfully. So at this point, what we're doing is just pointless, just wasting time playing this game. But yeah, I mean, I'll try to kind of explain what is going on. So okay, he opens up the file. It's definitely gonna give me like an easy win. Hitting the rook, also covering e2. Gonna be bringing like rook to e1. I'm trying to trade now his rook. Yeah, I'll just take it, and now we can just push the a pawn. He has no counterplay that I can see. Now he's dropping another piece thanks to this very clever check on d3, and yeah, I'm just gonna be pushing the a pawn. And yeah, he might still try to flag me. I don't know. Plays bishop c4, forgetting about the rook. Bro, you can also like just resign. There's a resign button. I'm gonna have to use my king. I wish I was not forced to go for this, but I'm gonna have to bother my king. Yeah, you can get on your queen. I'm letting you to. Okay, we can just finish the game now in like multiple ways. So yeah, I think that was actually like a very instructive game, and I know that usually people end up defending the pawn on b7 in like a different fashion, like going queen c8 in this position. But I think there are quite a big number of players that will just go queen b6, and yes, you can go for like queen b6 and bishop to b5. I see that it's also given by the chess.com engine, which is like a little bit weaker compared to what I'm working with. And this is okay, but it's not best. Okay, like 95 is just much better in this position. And yeah, I think the game shows why. Like, let's say he plays bishop f5, trying to keep his bishop. Obviously, like, he can clearly go c4. Like, that's one of the key lines, I believe. And you can, I'm not sure if you can play queen a4 or queen b6. I think you should take on b6 now that I'm really stretching my memory. I think we should take, and then I think I've covered this position with like really strong engines where you go actually for g3, bishop g2, and then you open up the position with e4 and you have the two bishops. Hey everyone, I wanted to quickly hop in because I have suggested a little bit of an inaccurate move order in this position, because into the video, as you've just seen, I said that white is supposed to go g3 with the idea to play bishop to g2 and then go for e4, and that is the right plan. It is very logical to open up the position for the bishop pair, making them more active. And the thing with this though is that it is a little bit inaccurate, as after I checked my notes while I was editing this video, I found out that I had e4 as my main move. And the point is that after black plays b5, we do end up taking on d5 and then going for g3. So pretty much the plan was correct, just the move order was a little bit off, and it gives black some additional options that could yeah, potentially hold the balance. But now after g3, white does get a small and steady advantage, which is also backed by Lila Zir. So that is all I had to say, and I wish you enjoy the rest of the analysis. So after bishop to f5, yeah, we just got this kind of dream scenario, and on rook c8, I took and I went bishop a6. He could play rook d8 though, but isn't it just like instantly winning after bishop to c7? I don't know. I thought this was winning during the game. Oh, he has king d7. Wait, what? What is that? King d7. Wait, what? If I take there's rook b8? If I take there's king c7? What is that? Okay, so perhaps we can't do this, but we can go for like something better, which is this move. First in king d7, and we can go knight f3. And yeah, I mean, white is just close to winning here after like 95. King 7, bishop c6. We are up a pawn with like, yeah, a very active position. So white is just, yeah, close to winning, I would say. During the game, honestly speaking, I had in mind to play rook d8, bishop c7 with this idea. But like, what kind of human does see king d7? And also evaluates it as winning for black? Like, that would be like really surprising and kind of shocking. But okay, I mean, you don't have to fall for it, because you know that on rook a8 you can just I mean, rook d8 you can play bishop to b7, which is better. Then bring the knight to f3, and white just has sort of a crashing position here, really. Threat being 95, that's why they play bishop to d6, and then the knight is coming into e5, and then we take. So yeah, that looks pretty much just winning. And what happened in the game wasn't really like fair, because I got bishop to b7, I win a pawn, and then I could really play anything, but I decide to go for the most annoying continuation, which was bishop b8. And I had in mind to meet this move with bishop to c7, and the idea was to play bishop b5 next. So he went rook a5, and it only made this threat stronger. And I went there, and I went this. Important, do not take. I'm guessing that was working, but I was perhaps annoyed by this. And still can take on c5 with a winning position, but why would you allow that? I go a4, goes king e7, and yeah, I mean, at this point, could take on c5. Also, what I did, I think, was really juicy, because Now it's really important. We can take with a bishop b winning, but much better take this way. Now this bishop is actually gonna be really nicely supported by these pawns, and we can just advance the whole squad now, and white is just completely winning. So yeah, then the rest, he tried some nonsense trying to hold the game, but he's obviously that lost. So yeah, I think that should be pretty much it about this instructive queen b3, queen b6, 95. So that is actually like a little bit of hidden line that I had in mind to recommend in my upcoming either London book or like London course on chessable. I'm not sure just yet which one will be, but I actually done some like serious study behind this, and I think this is the best move in the position. So yeah, use that in your games. Thank me in the comment section, and I think we can go for the yeah, next game. So we do get the white pieces. We're facing someone over 2000, plays b6. Yeah, I think we might be facing the Queen's Indian because I'm not gonna try to punish him for this dodgy opening. He does combine it with d5, which is actually not super typical for the Queen's Indian. I'm trying to guess what he's trying to go for. I'm gonna be playing knight b to d2. And on bishop d6, like this is the issue because we have played h3 already and we can't play bishop g3. But I think I have an option really. Like I could go knight e5. I think I'll just play like c3. Idea to just allow him take on f4 and play this pawn structure if he's willing to. Let's go knight e4, which is like an okay idea for him. I'm wondering whether I should take it or not. I think we don't really care about it just yet because yes, he plays f5, but eventually we'll be able to get rid of this knight with f3 once we do some yeah, careful maneuvering. So I could have started with knight e5 as well. Perhaps it would have been a little bit more clever. I'm not really worried about it that much yet. He does castle, and I think I could play like king h2. Have a weird plan. Guys. I want to go like let's go c5. Trying to yeah, see if my weird plan is actually like working. So I want to basically play like knight g1 and then f3. So knight g1, he plays queen c7, I go g3. I think that should be like okay, because as long as we get rid of this knight, I mean, he's gonna have like a big weakness there. I'm just gonna defend this pawn that he was attacking, and yeah, I can just play f3, really. And now we're controlling this square, and he has like a really bad weakness, and it looks like a little bit ugly for now, but I think this is definitely very good for us. Yeah, just gonna bring this rook in, focusing on the weakness. Plays knight f6. Could have maybe played like bishop b5 as well, trying to take that, but maybe he would have played bishop c6, so it's not that relevant. Now the big question is how we do we improve the position of this knight? And I'd love to get it to like e5. Not sure we can really like achieve that very soon. So I think I'll start with like rook e5. I could play rook e3 as well, but I'm just inviting him to kind of place his knight on a more passive square. So I'm gonna go there, and I think we can actually take on f5 because e8 is hanging at the end. So that is actually a cute tactic that you need to remember, because yeah, his pieces are kind of getting overloaded, and this is usually the yeah, the problem with having weaknesses. It's like really tricky to defend them. They are usually very vulnerable to this kind of cute tactical motives. Does come up with g5, but that looks like really scary. I can't take because there's like queen g3 coming in, but I can just go rook e5, and he can't take because then the knight will drop. So now taking on g5 is actually a huge threat. We're just gonna take because queen's path has been blocked, and this is absolutely winning right now. Gonna go g4. Knight seems kind of trapped right now. Funny that we're able to win this game with the knight sitting on g1. Actually, super funny. But this bishop on c8 is also like not super impressive, so That might be one of the reasons. He takes, but we can just take. He takes on e5. I'm gonna be taking back. Let's see. Expecting a resignation. He might try to go for the flag though. Playing f4 now, I'm threatening to take his rook. If he takes, I'm gonna take, opening up the f file for the rook. He does forget about his own rook. I'm gonna be taking it, gladly accepting the sacrifice, and he just resigns. And this might actually have been a well played game. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. So I'm curious whether this business involving knight g1 and f3 was legit, because yeah, you just don't need to like panic when they go for this kind of stuff. Yeah, playing knight e5 was actually like a little bit faster, and he's able to like trade, or actually he's not, because I have both queen h5 and bishop b5. Let's say he just castles, okay? We could play like castle, I'm assuming, but now queen h4 is like a super weird and good move for black. So start with knight f3. This is weird, and the idea is to like when they trade, you just take and go knight e5, and then queen e7. We can start with like castle, and the idea is that f3 will be much easier to achieve. So trading a pair of knights would have actually helped me a little bit in achieving f3, and I've kind of realized that a little bit too late after I played castle and he played knight d7. And now I really had to come up with a way to kind of maneuver my stuff. So I went knight g1, which, as I was saying, it looks like a little bit dodgy, but as long as black is unable to come up with like something quick, then his position is actually super tricky to play. Tried queen c7, I win g3. I mean, if he tries to like expand with c4, that is always gonna be a little bit too late. Like on c4, just go bishop c2, b5. I think I would have probably played like f3, and maybe these are like tricky positions to play, but yeah, I think should be easier as white generally, because if we like maneuver our pieces and play like 92, maybe not necessarily in that scenario, we could also like organize this break with g4 eventually. So yeah, I think I might still take white here, even though it's definitely quite complex. But he played h6, and after f3, seems like the computer is kind of hating my f3 idea, but I don't know what to say about that really. I think I kind of like the way he played it. Like I went rook e5, he went knight h5, and now I had this really cute idea with bishop takes on f5. Idea being that if he takes, we collect that. If after takes, we do take, and then yeah, I mean it's just over because he can't take. End up winning this. And in the game, yeah, it was just like similar to resignation, what he did. So okay, I think that was pretty instructive, even though maybe not like the purest form of showing why the e5 square was better than the e4 one, because we obviously can go for this f3 move, while black will never really be able to kick our knight from e5 ever again. In the game was the rook on e5 though that kind of decided things, and this knight was kind of funny on g1, but yeah, still ended up working. And we do have the white pieces against a 1938. We're gonna be going for the London right away. Second move, bishop to f4. He does go for the Queen's Indian defense type of setup. Plays with d6. I'm just gonna be making a luft for this guy on f4. Yeah, just gonna be developing. Ooh, he's going for long castle. I could start with a4, but I'm gonna be playing this move first, staying very flexible, and I could castle, but I don't want to rush things. I want to start attacking him immediately. He does play h5, but I haven't even castled, so I'm not sure where his attack will be going. So his idea is to obviously play like g4, and this is actually like really bad for my opponent. I'm just thinking about a way to like punish it, and I think the best is just to trade off his bishop with bishop a6 next, and does go knight b8. We can simply trade, and yeah, once we get the queen to like the a file, it should be pretty devastating. I'm wondering if we should worry about his g4 push at all. I don't think so, but I'm just checking it. How do we actually reply that g4 move? I think I'll play this way, and if he goes g4, I'm just gonna be moving my knight away. If he takes, we can at the very least take, but there's another move that I liked even better, which was this idea to go there. And if there's a funny tactic, because if he goes knight c6, I believe he's just lost after rook a7, but I will show that on the board after we finish the game. So he does go d5, but I think now after knight b5 we should be winning with multiple threats, such as rook coming into a7, pawn on c7 being hanging. He forgot about my h2 bishop for sure, even though, yeah, his position was already quite bad. I can think he plays rook a8. I'll show you like a funny move. If he goes rook a8. I could play king e2 there, but I think I've got something even better. I don't know though. Does take on g2. I was actually intending to meet rook a8 with short castle, but on takes, I think we kind of have to take. There's nothing really else. So I'll have to meet rook a8 with king e2 now, because the king will be safer there. Yeah, gonna be pre-moving rook takes on a1, and his position on the queen side looks like really bad. This king should just get made, that's my feeling, but I don't see it quite yet, and the main reason for that might be because I need to bring my queen, because this queen is okay there, but maybe we should play like queen h2. Idea to bring it into the game. Now he's obviously attacking my knight, which is definitely a critical move, and I think only move is actually c4 defending it. And if it takes, oh boy, there will be rook a7 once again. That would be like really lovely if we can actually get it on the board. I'm afraid he won't allow it, but also his position is quite difficult to play. That's fine, knight e7. That is actually allowing me to go bishop to d6 among other things. So I think I like this. If he takes on b2, I think I have rook b1. This is actually like a very interesting game. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. He takes on b2. Rook is hanging. I think easiest is just to play rook b1, hitting the queen, and also, the rook on the b file could be definitely very dangerous for my opponent. Let's see what he decides to do with his queen. So like next move I could take on e7 for sure. I think even better is to make this move first, and then taking with queen c7 will be a very annoying threat for my opponent, and perhaps he might just be completely lost there. So I think that's what I'm gonna go for. He has to move the queen, probably to like a2. Let's go to c2. I don't think we can trap that queen, so I'll just play queen h2. Idea to take and then go queen c7 with a mate. Also funny idea, bishop to b8, but that is less forcing. So yeah. Does play knight f5. Does he have some kind of weird tricks? I don't think so. Can just take and then queen is coming in. As long as I'm not missing anything, but takes on d4 we can just take twice. So yeah, queen is coming in. We just decisive effects right now. King is under attack, and then there will be mate on like the a file. Next, so can take the knight, can go like rook a1. I like this better. He has to move the knight and then we mate on a7. So yeah, that is pretty cool. And I think that was actually a very fun game full of instructive ideas. So first of all, this opponent actually played a little bit better than his rating, even though he got a very sort of inferior opening, because he castled way too early. Like he's just giving me a free hand on attacking. Maybe my bishop h2 move was like a little bit stupid and kind of justifies his push with g5 now. So perhaps it's just better to start with castle short. But my point was that after I go bishop h2, I go a4, I knew what's coming. Like I knew it's gonna be a race. I knew he's gonna be playing this, and my idea was maybe try to keep the king in the center, and his attack won't really be any dangerous. So that's the main reason why I played bishop h2, because it might look like a little bit weird, So I was not really like particularly afraid of this e5 push, but I knew he's gonna try to do something like this, and I try to kind of delay castling for that reason. And well, if they go a5 in this kind of line, you can just sacrifice the pawn, and you open things up, and white should be getting Very decent attack. In case he plays like a6 with the idea to meet a5 with b5, well, you can perhaps start with like c4 and then a5 on the next move. And if they play a5 now, you could still use the same thing as mentioned. So yeah, I think White's attack is just breaking through anyways. He did not even try to stop it. He just went yeah, very aggressive here with g5. I took, but yeah, the thing is, he's not really going anywhere, and perhaps it's a little bit better uh, to start with like knight c3, getting the knight into b5 as white. But I thought what I did was like very natural, trading off his um, fianchetto bishop, and after I took, I really wanted to go for something like this, but I thought that's, you know, a little bit yeah, too forced. I mean, the thinking process is a little bit too forced when you're just trying to mate him immediately. I kind of knew that I should just develop and I am much better, and I also knew that I can take this, and yeah, it's just much better for white from a static perspective because he has like a weak pawn. My bishop is very active, he's underdeveloped, I have the open a file, and yeah, all the reasons in the world to be better. But I really wanted to go for this concrete play with the idea that I'm also threatening rook a7, and for this reason he played knight c6, and after I took, it almost looked like it was over. By the way, here, if he had gone there, I think I was castling short, and then takes, I think I was just playing something like this, and it's looks very funny because the pawn is on g2, but the king is actually quite safe on g1. Okay, this is like a little bit unnecessary, to be fair. You just take and then castle, and you win at 10 point this lines because the rook is coming in with check, so no need to make this kind of stupid moves. But it was like funny while I was thinking about it. So he took on g2, I took, and now I played king e2, which is actually like best move. He went rook takes on a1 and then queen b4, and at this point, as I was mentioning, c4 is the only move. The other one is knight d6, but that is actually equal according to the engine, so I really have this only move with c4, and the main idea is that I'm threatening rook a7 if he takes. I forgot to actually show you like another idea. So here, as I was saying, I thought he plays knight c6, but I think there might be like a very funny tactic with rook a7, which the weakerchess.com engine might be missing, or is simply not working. I was thinking about this, but it's actually just losing. Wow. I mean, I thought like I'm able to play king e2 and then take there. I mean, king e2 and then bring the rook with mate. But apparently you can just play king d7. So it was one of those moments where you actually think that you thought about a better move than the engine. And it sometimes like happens, but no, it's not the case here. Black just wins. I was thinking about that. Apparently on knight c6 you can just do the same knight b5 move. Idea is to play rook a7 and then collect the knight. So it wasn't working. Forget about it. And after queen b4, c4 was like really critical. And on knight e7, bishop d6, rook b1 again, like only move, queen h2 best, knight f5, I took, and then yeah, rook a1 again, pretty. And we're facing an 1863 player who's going d4 c6, meaning that he's either a Caro-Kann or a Slav player. We're getting the Slav setup. Gonna go for the c4. This is the yeah, best way to punish this kind of Slav. Idea to play for like quick queen b3, and if they play queen b6, then we want to be able to push c5. So we have pawn takes on c4. I take with a bishop, and I'm quite happy to see that because I managed to develop the bishop in one go. And this actually makes me wonder whether I can go queen b3, e6, queen b7. That just looks winning to me. I think he might have just blundered it. So yeah, f7 under attack. I will just collect the pawn, no rook b8, because the bishop covers it. And as long as there's no rook b8, I have no worries whatsoever. And I think we are completely winning. So yeah, I'm thinking to just castle short on the next move. That's knight h5. This is like really ugly. Gonna go bishop there. If he goes queen c8, actually there's like a very dirty bishop a6 move, and his exchange is actually getting trapped. Let's go for check. I can take, but then he takes my bishop. That is the point. Could also just play king e2 though. Wondering what he's gonna do about that. Probably nothing. He plays queen c8. Okay, on queen c8, I think we're just going to be playing bishop e6 as I was mentioning, and have a big threat of taking. And if he takes, his exchange will literally get trapped in the corner, and I think that is actually pretty funny motive. Look at the poor rook. That's castle, but okay, can just collect. And that is pretty much a free win, or at least it should be. I'm gonna be developing the knight to d2 just to get this rook into c1. Could also play the knight c3, but yeah, I just want to target this weak pawn immediately. If he plays rook c8, I think I'm dropping the bishop all the way to g3. And yeah, other than that, I don't see many sensible moves for my opponent. He goes rook c8, we're just gonna be dropping the bishop to g3. I don't mind him taking it, and yeah, if he takes, then I'm just gonna take back, and then I'm gonna bring the rook anyways onto the c1, putting pressure on this pawn on c6, and yeah, just gonna take with the h-pawn all the time. Idea to bring the rook in, yeah, we're just gonna be pinning that pawn for the time being. Ideas to also play a3 in the future. Yeah, it's just a technical win at this point. Let's see what he comes up with. I'm guessing he'll move like the rook. He does not, and I think he can play a3. Idea if he goes there, there is b4, so he should take. I'll take with the king, and yeah. b4 is now actually winning the house because the rook will be undefended, and yeah, we can take, go rook c7 next. I think that's cleanest. Knight drops. A lot of pieces are dropping, and he also finds the resign button, so yeah, I think that was just a bad opening by my opponent, because he allowed me to go for this quick queen b3 move that is just a very unpleasant double attack that he is unable to defend against. And normally I would be afraid to take pawns on b7 then when there is such a line that he can activate and take on b2. But problem with this is that actually going rook b8 is not really a great idea, because the bishop can just take it. And for this reason, we can just take on b7, be completely winning. And then also this idea was like really funny, and King Ito is kind of the cherry on the pie, just ignoring his threats, saying that, well, I've got my own threats, which are stronger. And yeah, he's just dropping the exchange right now. Nothing really left to do for black, and we just got win from the opening, which we don't really expect in the London, but yeah, I guess we will just take those. So yeah, I think you can jump into the next game. So we do get the white pieces once again. Gonna go for like d4. Let's play e6. Gonna be getting my bishop all the way to like f4. Gonna be playing e3. Let's go like d6, which is probably getting into like the King's Indian type of stuff. So I'm gonna play knight f3, h3. Just no need to waste huge amount of time into the opening. He clearly does not play any opening. I'm just gonna be developing my stuff. Could potentially throw in like g5. I'll just develop. Could really go my bishop to like d3. I think that's like best square. Even though usually I play like bishop e2, I think here it's just good on d3. Gonna be taking advantage when they weaken, and that's just like dropping the pawn because I can take on b5 twice. Obviously, because the rook will be pinned. He does play a5. I think at this point we can just switch to like positional play with short castle, and yeah, I mean, could take on c6 anytime really. Also could go like knight b3. I think I'll just go like e4, just expanding in like the center. I think that's like okay. Even though we are up a pawn, we still could like play aggressive, if that makes sense. If bishop b7, we can play bishop to d3. So I'm usually saying that we should go for the trades all the time when we are up material, but yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like not that simple. Okay, knight c6, I can just play like knight c4. Hitting the queen and the d6 pawn. If queen c7, perhaps we can open things up with e5. I really want to play that. Is it any good though? I think it might. I'm just gonna go for it. Could have also played like c3. Not really having to calculate, but yeah, like knight d4, knight g6 feels like really good for me. He does take. I can take with a bishop, hitting his queen. I think I like that, gaining a tempo. On queen c6, I think I might play queen f3. go after the trade. Could also take that pawn, obviously. Thinking whether I like to force queens off more. Queen d8. Yeah, I think we're just playing this move, hitting the rook. See what he does. Does play rook a7. Think we can maybe take on f6, play knight e5. Does have an idea though. I think just to keep it simple, I'll take and play c3. I don't necessarily love this, but seems okay. Idea to meet bishop b7 with bishop e4, annihilating that potentially strong bishop. That's good queen d5, but why would you be like so happy playing this endgame? I don't get it. Can take on a5, and that's just like completely winning. Could go knight e3 slash knight b6. Rook a5 might be even stronger now that I'm thinking about it. Just gonna go for that. Hitting the rook and the d5 pawn as well. So yeah, let's see. Does play rook there, but now knight b6 might be an issue. Could also play knight e3, but I like this. He still gets like rook b7 trying to like trade, but we do end up getting rid of the bishop, which I think is pretty important. And we also, I think, are in time to like trade a pair of rooks, which generally will get rid of all the chances for him to hold. Because with the rooks can get tricky when they are trying to set up like a perpetual mechanism, but I don't see it happening in this fashion, and I think we just get to push and baby pretty much. d6, d7. He could have defended better, but still wouldn't really help in the end. So he does resign, then we do cash in this win. So yeah, I'm actually curious on whether we have missed something stronger earlier. a4 is definitely like the best way, generally trying to take advantage when they go for this b5 move. That is kind of unnecessary, to be honest. And then main point was obviously taking, and then if he takes, I take, and I win. So he does go a5, but I think switching to e4 is one of the best ideas, really, because I was thinking I can take on c6, I'm up a pawn, but I don't really see many ways of forcing trades. So then I was like, well, let's just play a normal game of chess while I'm up a pawn. So he can take on b2. Not really though. I can either play knight c4 or knight b3, I was thinking during the game. So something like this, queen b6, and then rook b1. Queen has to move, and then we end up cashing in the d6 pawn, and this is just completely winning. And on knight c6, knight c4 was really good. e5 was okay. Taking with the bishop was also okay. Queen f3 was kind of fine. Taking was kind of meh. Should have played c3, bishop b7, queen e2 according to the engine. I don't really like it though. What I did from like a practical perspective was just fine after he played this move. Rook a5 was best line with knight b6, and then yeah, I could play like rook c5 or other stuff, but I think this is like easiest generally. Although he could perhaps get in this move and I don't get rook a8 in time, but I'm still like completely winning with something like this. So in this endgame, maybe it's like a little bit more accurate to start with like rook d1 right off the bat, just preparing to push the pawn. But it's still like completely winning, so I don't think it would have really mattered that much.